Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. My daughter suddenly had a heart attack, but the only person who could perform the surgery, my husband, was out shopping with his first crush. When I called him, trembling and pleading for help, he impatiently hung up and said, "What's the rush? Will she die if it's a bit later?" But waiting an hour really could cause death. Later, my daughter's condition worsened, and she was pronounced dead. I held her ashes in my arms, returned home alone, and prepared the divorce papers. Chapter 1. At 3 in the morning, Luis finally returned home. When he turned on the light and saw me sitting in the living room, he was startled. I was holding our daughter's ashes, turning my head slowly, my eyes red and swollen, my face pale, staring at him. "Amanda, if you're sick, go get treated. Who are you trying to scare sitting here like a ghost in the middle of the night?" Luis said as he took off his socks and tossed them in front of me. "Hurry up and wash them. I'm out of clean socks." I looked at him mechanically. At 11 that night, my husband came home disheveled, with faint lipstick marks on his collar. I didn't have to guess whose lipstick it was. Seeing that I didn't respond, Luis grew even more impatient. "You're not still mad about Amy, are you?" I unconsciously hugged the urn in my arms tighter. "I already told you, Lila just came back to the country, and I hadn't seen her in 10 years. What's wrong with spending some time with her? There are plenty of opportunities for surgery. There's no need to rush. I'm a doctor. Do you really think I wouldn't take care of our Amy?" Luis spoke irritably, throwing his perfume-scented coat at me. He acted as if everything was my fault, as if I was being unreasonable. But how could this be unreasonable? I threw his coat aside, tears falling uncontrollably. It was so close, just a little more time. After that call, Amy's condition rapidly deteriorated. Before she died, she held my hand and asked, "Mom, why didn't Dad come?" "Mom, don't cry. Amy doesn't hurt anymore. Don't be mad at Dad because of this. Dad didn't make it in time. He must have had something important to do. Dad's a doctor. He's very busy." She obediently said she wouldn't cry, but when she was delirious, she kept crying out for her dad. I could only hold her hand tightly and tell her that Dad was on his way, that he would be there soon. "Just hold on a little longer. Please, Amy, just hold on a little longer." But until Amy closed her eyes forever, I still hadn't heard from Luis. At the same time, I saw Lila's new post on social media. Thank goodness Luis was with me, or Bowsy, her dog's name, would have been in danger. The picture showed Luis, Lila, and a white Tibetan Mastiff. In the picture, the two of them looked so intimate, as if they were a real couple. He missed Amy's surgery just to accompany Lila to take her dog to the vet. My daughter died, all so that Lila's dog could live. Luis, seeing that I hadn't moved or improved after a long time, clicked his tongue in annoyance. "Look at you with that half-dead look on your face. Can't you be more like Lila, dress up a bit, and be more obedient? Do you even know how embarrassing it is to be seen with you like this?" His cold tone was full of disdain. I let out a bitter laugh and looked up at him. "Lila, always Lila. We've been married for 7 years, but Luis has never stopped thinking about Lila. Over the years, for the sake of our daughter, I kept telling myself to endure it, thinking that at least Amy could have a complete family. But now Amy died. I took out the prepared divorce papers. Luis, let's get divorced." Chapter 2. Are you crazy? Luis never imagined that one day I would ask him for a divorce. Maybe he was too used to my submissiveness, so when I mentioned divorce, the look in his eyes was full of shock. "Divorce? Do you want Amy to be without a father?" I gently caressed the urn in my arms. The moment I closed my eyes, I could see Amy's face as she was dying. She was so small, so fragile, just skin and bones in my arms. When she was on the brink of death, her father was out shopping with another woman. What good is having a father anyway? Amy doesn't need a father anymore. With that, I turned to leave, holding the urn tightly. Luis grabbed me by the arm. "Amanda, what do you mean by that? Whether Amy needs a father or not isn't for you to decide. If you have the guts, let Amy tell me herself. But Amy will never get the chance to tell you that." I held the cold urn tightly, imagining the warmth of holding Amy in my arms as I once did. So many times when Luis and Lila were sweet-talking over their long-distance calls, it was Amy who wiped away my tears, patted my back and said, "Mom, don't cry. You have Amy." Mom, don't be sad. I endured all of this and yet I still lost my Amy. There's nothing more to say to you. I shook off Luis's hand and told him word by word. Tomorrow at noon, see you at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Fine. You think you're all grown up now, huh? Luis growled through gritted teeth. Divorce. With that, he grabbed his coat and stormed out the door. Before leaving, he turned back to threaten me. After the divorce, I'll make sure Amy's custody is mine. Amanda, you'll regret this. With those words, the door slammed shut with a loud bang. The house fell into a dead silence, broken only by the ticking of the clock in the living room. I gently patted the urn in my arms as if comforting a frightened child. From beginning to end, Luis never once asked about our daughter, how she was doing today, whether her vitals were stable, if she was in pain, or even if she was sleeping. He didn't even care about the noise he made, not even when slamming the door so loudly. And he never once asked what I was holding so tightly in my arms. I stared at the closed door and wiped the tears from my face. Luis, you missed seeing Amy for the last time. And now you'll miss seeing me for the last time too. Chapter 3. The next day, I arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau on time with my bag. By noon, Luis still hadn't shown up. I decisively called him. Luis's voice sounded furious. Amanda, are you out of your mind? Do you have to ruin someone's morning? I looked at the clouds in the sky, my tone calm. Come and get the divorce, Luis. Don't make me lose all respect for you. In the end, he showed up. Luis and Lila arrived at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau, holding the Tibetan Mastiff. When Luis saw me, he took Lila's arm and they spoke intimately, looking every bit like a newlywed couple. There was a faint smile on his lips as he talked to her. In 7 years of marriage, he had never smiled at me like that. When they reached me, Lila immediately took my hand. Amanda, why are you so determined to divorce our Luis? You're not still doubting our relationship, are you? Amanda, don't worry. We've known each other for so many years. If we were going to be together, it would have happened long before now. You wouldn't even have had a chance. I sneezed and pulled my hand away. Then congratulations. Once we're divorced, the man I don't want will finally be yours. Lila's face froze. Luis's expression turned completely dark. Signatures, stamps, and the divorce certificate were in my hand. As we walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, Luis looked displeased. I advise you to think carefully. Women like you are a dime a dozen, but once you leave me, no one else will want you. I didn't get angry. Instead, I laughed and walked out of the bureau. The sky was gray when I stepped outside, as if it was about to rain. Lila was waiting outside with the Tibetan Mastiff. Luis. As soon as Lila saw Luis, she rushed over to grab his hand, interlacing their fingers. Luis didn't pull away. Even when we were newlyweds, Luis had never held my hand like that. He used to say it was too mushy. He wasn't used to it. But now I looked at their tightly clasped hands. I realized that love or lack of love had always been hidden in these small details. I hugged my bag tightly and started to walk away. Inside the bag was Amy's urn. I was planning to lay Amy to rest at the cemetery. Amy, sweetheart. Don't be afraid. Mommy will be with you soon. Chapter 4. Just before I left, Luis called out to me. Don't say I didn't warn you, but there's no way I'm giving you Amy's custody. Bring Amy to me by tomorrow or I'll have no choice but to send you a lawyer's letter. I turned to look at him, feeling nothing but bitter amusement. But Amy is already dead. She died on the day you were out shopping with Lila. Are you happy now? At least you saved yourself some legal fees. I turned to leave, not noticing that Lila secretly let go of the leash. The Tibetan Mastiff suddenly charged at me. I was knocked to the ground. The urn in my bag fell out and shattered into pieces. The dog eagerly dug into the bag, licking the scattered ashes. Amy, that's my Amy. I rushed forward like a madwoman trying to drive the dog away. I scooped up Amy's ashes, crying so hard it felt like my heart was being torn apart. Amy, my Amy. Stop licking. Stop licking. Those are my daughter's ashes. I desperately tried to push the mastiff away, but the beast stubbornly kept burying its head in the urn. I was losing my mind. Lila's voice rang out clearly in my ears. Oh dear, Luis, I didn't mean it. The dog must have been startled by something and suddenly lunged. Do you think it's unwell? Amanda, I'm so sorry. It was just a box of formula after all. I'm sure Sister Amanda won't mind, right? Luis casually wrapped an arm around Lila's shoulders. It's fine, just some formula. I'll buy her another box if she wants. That's not formula. Those are our daughter's ashes. Luis, make it stop. Hurry. Don't let it lick anymore. I couldn't pry the large dog off, and I felt a metallic taste rise in my throat. Luis stood by coldly, holding Lila while Lila's dog licked our daughter's ashes. It's just some formula. What's the big deal about it licking a little? He said impatiently. Just like when Amy was waiting for surgery and he was with Lila, impatiently letting our daughter slowly die. Luis, you bastard. I grabbed the pen at my side and stabbed it into the mastiff's neck with all my strength. Chapter 5. Bowsy! Luis exclaimed, rushing over to pull me away. Amanda, you're crazy. What are you doing? Lila hugged the Tibetan mastiff tightly. What are you doing? I already apologized. What more do you want? I hadn't even lost my temper, and yet she was already accusing me. I was shaking uncontrollably, my hands covered in blood. It's that beast. What was it doing? Lila dismissed me. I told you Bowsy didn't do it on purpose. Luis quickly sided with her. Look at yourself. What do you even look like right now? Apologize to Lila and Bowsy now. It was always like this. As long as Lila was around, he would always stand by her side. Luis never stood by me. He only looked at me with disgust. I can't wait any longer. Right now, immediately get Amy here or I'll call the police and have you arrested. What right do you have to even mention Amy? A wave of fury consumed me, chilling the blood in my veins. I lunged at Luis, grabbing him and starting to fight. You bastard, you damned bastard. Give me back my daughter. Give me back my daughter. I hit him punch after punch. I vented my rage with all my strength. Luis shoved me away, pointing a finger at my face, cursing. Amanda, look at yourself. Do you even look like a mother? Bring Amy to me or don't blame me for using force. I spoke with a trembling voice. You want Amy? I pointed to the ashes that the mastiff had licked, my fingers shaking violently. She's right there. Go get her. Luis frowned. What are you talking about, Amanda? I know you're upset about the divorce, but you can't just spout nonsense. Lila said, sobbing as she held on to that beast. Luis pulled out his phone. You've lost your mind. Refusing to give up custody, huh? Just wait. I'm calling the police right now. Call the police? You killed Amy. What right do you have to call the police? A metallic taste rose in my mouth and I swallowed it back, my teeth chattering. Amy is already dead. Luis froze for a moment, then quickly shook his head. Impossible. Amy is at our hospital. If something had happened, they would have told me. They called you, but you didn't pick up. My heart pounded painfully in my chest. My poor daughter. Even her ashes were desecrated by a beast after she died. Maybe the sight of me scared Luis. He backed away several steps before regaining his composure. Impossible. Luis frowned. You're lying to me. You must be hiding Amy just to keep me from getting custody. You won't give her to me? Fine, I'll find her myself. I sneered as I watched him. Luis dialed a number. Hello, doctor. Is my daughter still in the hospital? There was a pause on the other end of the line. Luis, you don't know? Your daughter passed away yesterday. Chapter 6. Luis froze. Are you sure? There was a brief hesitation on the other end of the line and the voice softened. We also heard about it. Please wait. The doctors responsible are currently on leave, and we're still investigating the details. Then hurry up and find out, I sneered, my chest heaving violently. They won't find anything. My daughter died in the hospital, and those incompetent doctors were afraid of retaliation. The day Amy was cremated, they all took leave. By now they've probably fled far away. Luis hung up the phone. Lila, holding the dog, tugged at his sleeve, her beautiful face streaked with tears. Luis, our Bowsy isn't doing well. Please, you have to save him. Luis paused, then quickly scooped up the dog. Don't cry, we'll find a doctor for Bowsy right away. His gentle tone was reserved for Lila. Luis took a few steps, then turned back to me. I'm warning you, if you spread any more lies about Amy, don't blame me for what I'll do. I let out a bitter laugh, saying nothing more. Luis, what's the point of pretending to care about Amy now? Amy is already dead. I watched with my own eyes as she was sent into the crematorium. You're the one who killed her. You abandoned her for Lila. When I looked up, the gloomy sky had swallowed Luis's figure. I collapsed to my knees, coughing up a mouthful of blood. The blood splattered onto Amy's ashes, mixing with them. At that moment, I seemed to see little Amy standing in front of me, wearing a white dress. I held the remaining ashes in my hands and started to laugh softly. She was waving at me. Mommy, I missed you. I smiled weakly, reaching out to touch that small figure. Mommy missed you too. Amy, sweetheart. Don't be afraid. Mommy will be with you soon. Mommy won't make you wait long. Chapter 7. After the divorce, I never went back to that house. I burned all of Amy's belongings and threw away everything of mine. I even cut up all the photos we had together. In short, I didn't want to leave any trace of our relationship. These past few days, my health has been getting worse, and I cough up blood every time. I know I'm about to reunite with Amy soon. Thankfully, I already got the divorce papers. Even in the afterlife, Luis and I will be completely severed. The last thing I need to do is find a resting place for Amy. I chose a peaceful, scenic cemetery for my daughter, thinking that when I die, I want to be buried here too. On the 7th day after Amy's death, I went to the cemetery to pay my respects. But I saw Luis's car outside. Why is he here? Could it be that he realized he was the one who caused Amy's death and came to apologize to her? I walked in and Luis and Lila were just coming out. Lila was clinging to Luis's arm, sobbing. Luis, do you think Bowsy will blame me for not protecting him? Luis gently patted her head. No, we did everything we could. Bowsy won't blame you. Besides, didn't the feng shui master say that this is a blessed spot? Bowsy will definitely have a good afterlife here. Lila smiled at that, tugging at Luis's sleeve, her tone soft. Luis, I'm so lucky to have you. I watched coldly, feeling nothing but disgust for this pair of scum. Luis, a PhD in medicine, actually believed in this superstitious nonsense. But on second thought, it's not surprising. He'd do anything for Lila. Luis noticed me and instinctively frowned. What are you doing here? That should have been my question to him. He frowned, his tone accusatory. He was just short of accusing me of stalking him. I didn't want to get tangled up with him any further. It's none of your business. You. Sure enough, he was about to get angry. But Lila stopped him. Lila pretended to be kind, taking my arm and pointing to a messy area of the cemetery. Sister, look, this is the private grave Luis had built for our Bowsy. What do you think? Following her finger, I suddenly felt a chill run through my entire body. Chapter 8. All the graves had been dug up. A construction worker stood in front of Amy's grave, and with a single shovel, a cloud of white dust rose into the air. Those were Amy's ashes. I froze in place, a cold rush of blood surging to my head. Lila's voice was sharp and nauseating. Oh, my sister Amanda, Luis and I searched for a long time before finding this spot. The feng shui master said this place has great energy. My Bowsy will definitely be safe and happy here. Huh, Sister Amanda, where are you going? I broke free from Lila, stumbling as I ran towards Amy's grave. What are you doing? I yanked the construction worker away, my voice sharp with fear. Who told you to do this? My Amy was still so small. She never did anything wrong. Why did even her ashes have to be scattered after she died? I knelt on the ground, gathering the remaining ashes. Gone, it's all gone.
Amy, I'm sorry.
Mommy didn't protect you. My anger overwhelmed me, and I started coughing again. The taste of blood filled my mouth, and I felt dizzy and lightheaded. The construction worker, startled by my sudden pull, shrank back and looked at Luis in confusion. Luis stepped forward. I told him to dig. What of it? I stared at Luis in shock, my hands and feet going cold. Do you even know what you're doing? You treated Amy poorly when she was alive, and now you've scattered her ashes. I screamed at him in fury. Are you an animal? Luis seemed momentarily startled by my outburst, but then he regained his composure. I warned you, if you spread any more lies about Amy's death, don't blame me for what I'll do. Lies. I stood up, my body swaying slightly. My vision blurred, and I looked at Luis, forcing a smile more painful than tears. Luis, how many times do I have to tell you for you to believe Amy is dead? She's already dead. She died on the day you went shopping with Lila. Her last words were about you. She wanted to see her daddy. She missed her daddy. You. Smack. Before I could finish, a hard slap landed on my face. I fell to the ground. Luis looked down at me, his jaw clenched tightly. Chapter 9. Sister Amanda, I never expected you to be this kind of person. Lila continued to fan the flames, her voice dripping with false concern. Amy was your own daughter. Yet you say such things just to get back at Luis. This is too much. I let out a bitter laugh, looking at the two of them standing before me. I wanted to speak, but my breathing grew increasingly labored, the air in my lungs becoming thinner and thinner. I knew it, I was dying. But how could I die now? Amy's grave was dug up, her ashes scattered. She hasn't found peace yet. I collapsed to the ground, my face pale, trembling as I reached out to Luis. He could save me. He's a doctor. He must know what to do. Help me. Let me live just one more day, even half a day. Let me lay Amy to rest. All I ask is to let my daughter rest in peace. Luis looked down at me with cold indifference, letting out a disdainful snort. Amanda, don't think that pretending to be sick will make me go easy on you. You think I'd believe you? My hand trembled, frozen in midair. Exactly. Lila clung to Luis's arm. Luis, let's go. Don't pay her any attention. This woman is full of bad intentions. My hand finally fell to the ground. Luis, irritated by my presence, even kicked me aside as he walked away. They left arm in arm. The last thing I saw was Luis's back. He always turned his back on me, even after 7 years of marriage. In the midst of the chaos, I saw Amy skipping towards me, her hair in pretty pigtails, dimples appearing as she smiled sweetly. Mommy, I can finally hug you. Tears filled my eyes as I held her tightly. I felt my body growing lighter, my heartbeat slowly fading. But it didn't matter. Amy, Mommy can finally hold you. Chapter 10. I held Amy's hand, watching Luis and Lila slowly walk away. In the end, I died here. No matter how much regret or bitterness I felt. Amy looked at me sadly, her voice soft and innocent. Mommy, why is Daddy so nice to that auntie? Daddy never smiled at me like that. Does Daddy not like Amy? I didn't know how to explain any of this to her, so I mumbled something that didn't make much sense. Amy, always so thoughtful, gently squeezed my hand. Mommy, don't be sad. Amy knows that both Daddy and Mommy love me. Daddy must love Mommy a lot too. Amy knows that. I held her tightly, and for some reason, tears began to fall again. For reasons unknown, Amy and I remained in this world. But Amy's ashes were destroyed beyond recognition, and even as a spirit, she often fainted. I wandered the world with a fainting Amy in my arms, unseen by anyone. But I could see everyone. I died in the cemetery, and when my parents came to visit, they wept bitterly. When they found out that Luis had seen me before I died, they wanted to confront him. But as soon as they stepped inside, Luis and Lila threw them out. Luis and I are already divorced. I advise you to mind your own business. This is not a place for low-class people like you. Overnight, my father aged considerably, his hair turning gray. Pointing at Luis, his hand shook with rage. You scoundrel! You bastard! My daughter just. And you're already with this woman? Do you have no shame? Lila's tone was as familiar as ever. Oh, uncle, you misunderstand. Luis and I are just ordinary friends. We've known each other for 10 years. We can't just give up a decade of friendship because of your daughter. My father trembled with fury. You shameless wretch. He lunged at Lila, ready to fight her, but Luis quickly stepped in to protect her. Dad! I rushed to catch my father, but my hand passed right through his body. I couldn't help anyone. I was just a wandering ghost. My father collapsed to the ground, his ankle instantly swelling. I knelt in front of him, tears falling uncontrollably. When I first married Luis, my parents didn't approve. It was only because I insisted on marrying him that they reluctantly gave their blessing. All these years, my relationship with Luis was strained, but I never dared to tell them. But maybe they noticed how I was growing thinner and thinner, always telling me, "It's okay if you're unhappy, just come home." But I can't go home anymore. I trembled as I tried to reach for my father's hand. But I'm already dead. No one can see me. Chapter 11. I reached out, wanting to massage my father's ankle, but the sight of my ghostly, intangible hand seemed to mock me. Amanda, you're just a useless wandering ghost. Louise looked coldly at my parents. When is she going to stop? Does she think bringing you here to play the sympathy card will make me give her custody? I'm telling you it's not happening. Amy is my daughter. There's no way I'm letting her grow up with a madwoman. My mother supported my father, her voice hoarse. But Amanda can't fight for custody anymore. Louise hesitated, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his face. What do you mean? He seemed to sense something, instinctively grabbing my father's collar. What do you mean by that? In all our years of marriage, this was the first time I saw Louise with this expression when it came to something related to me. It looked like he was afraid of losing me. That seriousness was almost enough to make me doubt. Maybe he really does care about me. But how could that be? My father pushed Louise's hand away. Suddenly, my father's figure seemed to hunch over, and this stubborn old man's eyes reddened as he looked at Louise. She's dead. That's impossible. Louise spoke without hesitation. Something that big, there's no way I wouldn't know. No way you wouldn't know. Of course you wouldn't know. Because I died right in front of you. In that moment when you kicked me aside and walked right over me. Exactly. Lila seized the opportunity to stoke the fire. How could a healthy person just die like that? This is probably another one of her tricks to deceive Louise. First she spread rumors that Louise's daughter died. And now this old man is here spreading lies about his own daughter's death. No wonder they're related. They're cursing their own child. Louise's face darkened even more. He was convinced this was just another one of my lies. But I really am dead. I watched him from afar. Why won't you believe it? Chapter 12. Louise was even more arrogant than I had imagined. He sent people everywhere to look for me, but they found nothing. He thought I was hiding from him, so in his frustration he tracked down my best friend Joanna. Tell Amanda no matter where she hides with the child, I will find her. If she comes back now, I'll be willing to forgive her. Otherwise, I won't give her another chance. Still the same threatening tone. All these years of marriage, Louise never once spoke to me with kindness. Even now that I'm dead. Joanna's eyes were swollen and red as she threw my death certificate in Louise's face. Take a good look. Amanda is dead. I've already helped her parents deregister her. As if shocked by Joanna's words, Louise staggered back several steps before steadying himself.
Impossible.
I just saw her a few days ago. There's no way she could just die like that in a matter of days. His voice was full of agitation. It must be fake. Louise tore up the certificate, turning his anger on Joanna. You're in on this with her, aren't you? You set up this whole scheme just to take Amy's custody away from me, didn't you? Joanna looked at him in disbelief. Amy? You dare talk about Amy? Your own daughter was gravely ill in the hospital, and instead of saving her, you went shopping with Lila. Even after Amy's death, you couldn't leave her in peace. Do you know what you did? You let Lila's dog lick her ashes, and then you dug up her grave to build a tomb for Lila's dog. Joanna grew more emotional as she spoke, her eyes reddening even more. Do you know where Amanda died? She died in front of Amy's ashes.
Impossible. Louise shouted.
He seemed genuinely distressed, using all his connections to find me, as if by doing so he could prove that Joanna was lying. But what good does that do? Louise turned the entire city upside down, but he never found any trace of me. It was only then that he finally realized he would never find me again. Chapter 13. Lila tried to comfort him. Maybe Sister Amanda and Amy have already left the city. Amanda couldn't bear to part with her child. Maybe she's already taken Amy and run far away. Even though I'm dead, Lila is still trying to smear my name. She secretly investigated me. She contacted doctors in other cities and saw my cancer diagnosis. She also saw Amy's death certificate. She knows we're both dead. The dead can't speak, and so she gets to dictate what's true and what's not. Louise didn't say anything, but he still didn't give up looking for me. I don't understand why he's still so stubborn. When I was alive, he didn't love me. I was just the wife he married to spite Lila. For 7 years, he never once smiled at me. His heart was always with Lila. Otherwise, he wouldn't have abandoned Amy's surgery for her. He didn't love me, so he certainly didn't love my child. That's why from the day Amy was born, He never spent a single birthday with her. Amy cried to me more than once, asking if Daddy didn't love her anymore. I didn't know how to explain it, so I could only hold Amy and cry in silence. Over time, Amy stopped asking. Amy slowly became more obedient. But my heart bled. So why is he still looking for me? Luis, who are you trying to fool by? Pretending to be a loving husband? That night, the doctors who had fled to another city were brought back by him. On them, Luis found Amy's death certificate and my cancer diagnosis. It was all written there. Clear as day. I have less than 10 days to live. Luis is a doctor. He knows exactly what that means. A thin sheet of paper fluttered to the ground as Luis took a few shaky steps back, his eyes unfocused. How could this be? How is this possible? These past few days, he even wondered if I had taken Amy and fled the country. But what he never expected was that I was truly dead. Amy and I are both dead. From beginning to end, no one ever lied to him. Dead is dead. Amy died the day he went shopping with Lila. I died in the cemetery. At the moment, I begged him to save me. In his life, there were only 2 times when he watched someone die without helping. Once it was his daughter and the other time it was me.
Impossible.
Fake. It has to be fake. No matter how much he denies it, it doesn't change the fact that I'm already dead. The overwhelming pain consumed him. How did they die? One was my daughter. The other was my wife. Why am I the last to know? Luis descended completely into madness. Chapter 14. It was only then that he finally remembered I was his wife. And Amy, she was his own daughter. But what does that matter now? We're both already dead. I stood by coldly watching Luis. The doctors he had brought back were now trembling with fear, one of them stammering, "Luis, I truly didn't know you were searching for your daughter. I thought Miss Lila had already told you that Miss Amy and your wife, they both..." His words trailed off into a stutter. Luis didn't look at him. His mind was completely blank. The doctor continued to babble. "We tried calling you back then, but you didn't answer most of the time. We even tried calling from different numbers. Miss Amy was crying so much, asking if you weren't coming. Your wife was also diagnosed with cancer. She held Miss Amy, sitting alone in the hospital. Luis, we really thought you knew." Luis stood there, stunned and unmoving. I also called him countless times that day, but he hung up on me every time. Not long after that, his only daughter closed her eyes forever. He crouched down, covering his face as he started to cry. I watched him coldly, feeling strangely calm. I don't know how long it was before Luis, broken and desolate, returned home. Since Amy was hospitalized, the front door had rarely been opened. But for once Luis came back here. Over the years, Luis had seldom returned home, leaving only Amy and me to depend on each other. Now that I'm gone, everything in the house has gathered a thin layer of dust. Luis walked through the house in a daze, noticing the family photo on the coffee table, now covered in dust. In the photo, Amy and I were smiling happily, and even Luis was smiling for once. What a warm and loving family. Luis gripped the photo tightly, his eyes reddening once again. He suddenly remembered the day I collapsed, begging him to save me. He had kicked me and stepped over my body. He crouched down, burying his face in his arms. What have I done? Yes, what have you done, Luis? What have you really done all these years? Wasn't it just that you didn't love me? Wasn't it just that you missed Amy's surgery because of Lila? How did it end up causing such an irreparable tragedy? But even now that you know everything, what difference does it make? He can't hear my accusations, and he can't see the disgust on my face. Luis just kept calling my name over and over. I was wrong, Amanda. I really know I was wrong. Please come back. Amanda? The room was so quiet that you could hear the clock ticking. Just like all those days in the past when I sat here waiting for him to come home. But this time it's him waiting for me. He'll never find me. Belated affection is worth less than grass. Chapter 15. As time passed, Luis's regret grew into madness. He repeated my name and Amy's name, shutting himself off from the world. Everyone thought he had lost his mind. Lila took the opportunity to come and check on him, but she left without taking her phone. Luis received a call on her phone. The voice on the other end plunged Luis into an icy abyss. It was Amy's attending physician. Listen, Lila isn't 10,000 too little. I helped you kill Luis's daughter and wife. If he finds out, I'm done for. Huh? Why aren't you saying anything? Trying to play dead, huh? Don't play dumb with me. If I hadn't told you that Luis's daughter was critically ill and helped you put his phone on airplane mode, how could he have missed all those calls from the hospital? And that grave digging. If I hadn't told you where his wife buried their daughter, how would you have had the chance to make Luis dig up his own daughter's grave and drive his wife to death? I'm telling you, 10,000 is too little. Once you become Mrs. Luis, you'd better pay up. So it was all Lila's doing. She planned everything, killing me and Amy to marry Luis. She regretted leaving Luis to go abroad, and now she was back to take everything from me. Luis clenched the phone, his eyes gradually turning red. So this was the truth behind everything. But it was too late for him to do anything about it. Luis gripped the knife in his hand. Luis, have you seen my foe? Lila suddenly returned, seeing Luis, and froze. Luis, what's wrong? Before she could finish the last word, the phone in Luis's hand dropped to the floor. The screen displayed the recent calls. Seeing the number on the screen, Lila froze. You answered the call, Luis? Luis, let me explain. But before she could finish, Luis had already lunged at her. The kitchen knife plunged deep into her abdomen. In Lila's shocked eyes, Luis muttered, It's all your fault, it's all your fault. If it weren't for you, Amy, my daughter and my wife wouldn't be dead. Blood spilled from Lila's mouth. But Luis didn't stop. He kept stabbing her again and again into her abdomen. Realizing she wouldn't survive this, Lila dropped her pretense and fought back with all her might. Bullshit. She grabbed Luis by the throat. You're just a fickle bastard and I took my chance. That's what you deserve. If you were really a man of integrity, how could I have found an opening? Chapter 16. Even on the brink of death, a person's strength can be immense. Luis's face turned a deep shade of blue as Lila choked him, his eyes rolling back. I stood by watching them, thinking how it was just a case of one dog biting another. Such a commotion quickly drew the attention of the police. By the time they arrived, Lila had already bled out and died on the spot. Luis had lost his mind. Covered in blood, he huddled in a corner, muttering incessantly, I'm sorry, Amy.
I'm sorry, honey.
I was wrong. I was so wrong. I'm a bastard. I'm a bastard. The police handcuffed him. He followed them numbly, getting into the car. It was no surprise that he would be sentenced to death for premeditated murder. To ensure the case was handled fairly, the police conducted thorough investigations. They learned about me and Amy, and through their inquiries they also found the attending physician who had fed information to Lila. He couldn't escape the law's punishment either. On the day of Luis's execution, Amy, who had been in a deep sleep, finally woke up. She held my hand and said, Mommy, I dreamed that Daddy came to find us. I smiled and held her hand, saying nothing. The sun was rising, and I felt my soul slowly fading away. The wicked had been punished, and my heart was finally at peace. As for Luis, I would never see him again. In the sunlight, as our souls began to dissipate, I looked at little Amy and finally gathered the courage to ask her, Amy, in the next life, would you come and stay by Mommy's side again? Amy nodded. She said, Mommy, no matter when, Amy will always stay by your side. I gently smiled. In the setting sun, we completely dissolved into nothingness.